Okay, so this is what I'm starting with. I mentioned that I wanted to do a remote windshield defroster, which could potentially warm the car up also. Um, and what I purchased was this right here. This is the pretty much the relay portion of it. It's made by Emylo, and it's a RF wireless remote control switch, and it's for 12 volts. You can get multiple different voltages, but for the car, I only need 12 volts. Cars run off a 12 volt system. It comes with two key fobs, and I believe they're already pre-programmed to work with the relay little setup here. And basically what I have to do is I have to splice in the wires from the heater, which is right here, and you can buy these off of Amazon. I think it was only like 19 bucks. And I splice in the wires from this heater into the relay portion. I've already cut what I think is a sufficient length to stretch from the dash there back into the armrest console where there's a cigarette lighter port. And the other side that plugs into the cigarette lighter port is right here. And I've cut them. I just haven't stripped them and put them inside the little relay module yet. But give me a second, I'll be right back after I do that. Okay. So I've installed one of the sides of the wires into this little module already. And I ran that to the 12 volt cigarette lighter port in my vehicle. One thing you gotta be mindful about is that this thing, it does sense the polarity, whether it's negative on one side, positive on the other side. I don't have a multimeter with me in the car, so I hooked it up and the green light didn't come on. So all I did was just reverse the leads, which go in the top two right there. I just reversed them, and once I reversed them, then it gave me the ability to achieve this green light, which means that I'm getting power to this relay module. The next thing I did was I grabbed this key fob, and if you listen closely, you'll hear it click. And that's for the lock function. And you'll hear it click again. That's for the unlock. So I know that this remote is going to give me the ability to turn something on and turn something off using separate buttons, which is awesome. From here, I pressed it, you hear it click. I press it again, it doesn't click. I press the other button, and then you hear it disengage. That works for me. I haven't tried it in the opposite. Let's see what happens. And it won't work opposite. So once again, I press the lock button. You hear it click. I press the unlock button. You heard it click again. So that should turn off whatever device that I have in here wired up to this little relay module. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the other end and I'm going to wire that into this relay module. Now the relay module has NC, COM, and NO. NC is for normally closed. The COM is just the COM. It's just the I guess you can call it the ground for this. and the NO is normally open. So whatever operates under a normally open condition. I just got to figure out which one of these settings is going to be the one that I need to trigger the heater to come on. So give me a minute and I'll be right back with you. Okay. So I finished wiring up this relay, and honestly, the directions do not explain what you need to do to accomplish this. It's written in broken English, and they just left out a lot of things that you need to accomplish in order to get this to work properly. For starters, on the far right hand side, that's where my positive lead comes in. Directly next to that is where my negative lead comes in. The negative lead that the negative lead ultimately needs a jumper in order to get this to work properly. That's the purpose of that blue wire that you see there. And basically I just cut out a short piece, I stripped it, and I stuck it in there. On the back of the module, you'll notice that the negative lead, or that negative terminal, which is if you count all the way from the left, not the first one but the second one, that one doesn't have a solder point or a lead underneath of it on this IC chip to give it a negative. So you have to give it one. From there, I ran the negative for that's required to power this heater. I ran that into the normally open spot. Normally open means that when power is applied to this relay, when you press the button, it closes the relay. So if I put it in normally closed, as soon as power is applied to this relay, it automatically be on, and that remote will be required to cut off this relay versus turning it on, or turning on the heater, excuse me. It's not hard. It didn't require a lot of tools. Basically I used a flathead screwdriver, a pair of Kleins, and that wet spot is a soda. Soda dripped on my seat. Don't laugh at me. And that's the wire that I used. And I used a Phillips. And to get it to work, all you have to do is just press the button on the key fob that it gives you. Let me get that out real quick. And when I press the button on the key fob, you'll see that little indication light. Let me see if I can see it again. Yeah, you can't see it because the light's so bright. But it's a light, it's an LED right underneath that green one that clicks to let you know that it received a request basically from this key fob. And as soon as I press it, you can hear a click, and I feel the heat in the fan coming or blowing right now. And basically what I'm gonna do in the morning is I'm gonna set this, or not even in the morning, tonight when I get out the car, I'm just gonna set it right up here in the dash, because the mornings have been kind of cold, and when I come out it requires me to sit here for a few moments prior to moving my vehicle. And it gets pretty hot. Like, it's hot enough to where if I keep my hand here, I'll burn myself. And then I just turn it off. Once again, you just press it, it turns it on. You press it again, it turns it off. And it's simple. I'm not exactly sure the range of this module, but with this module, that little coil of black wire that you see right there, that's the antenna. And in the housing, the top housing of the case for this is actually a hole right there. So I'm probably going to end up poking a hole and then uncoiling this antenna and sticking it through that hole to get the maximum range. I think my car, where I park it in a side parking lot, is probably like maybe a good football field lengths away from my apartment building. So I think I'm also going to buy a set of LED lights to set up in the dash, so that or maybe not even on a dash. I'll buy like a LED light to put on it. That way I can see if it powers up from my house. Because other than looking out the window and seeing if the window's defrosting, I won't be able to really tell if it turns on, or if it's within the range capabilities. And then to close this up, that's the bottom part of it, and I'll just set this underneath of it, just like so. It's kind of hard to do this with one hand, but whatever. I'll set it on there, and then I'll put the top cover on, and I'm not going to poke a hole in it tonight. I'm going to see if it works without me having to poke a hole in it, and see what I get out the whole situation. Alright. And once again, the directions will not tell you how to do this right. The directions are like, I don't even think it's English. I don't think that a person that speaks proper English wrote the directions, and that's why it's kind of confusing. But yeah, I'll let you know how it works out.